Buzzed. Howard Bender, a.k.a. Roto Buzz Guy, is here to help you get through Thursday on Getting Buzzed. And now, please welcome to the virtual stage, Mr. Howard Bender.
All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Getting Buzz. That's right, I am Howard Bender, a.k.a. Roto Buzz Guy. You can see it right here on the screen, right in front of me. Right there's the Twitter handle. You want to give it a follow. Getting Buzz, a brand new show here from Fantasy Alarm and the Better Sports Network. It's sports talk, fantasy sports talk with a little bit of an edge. Let me bring you in to my co-pilot, right? The real master of ceremonies here, ladies and gentlemen, my man. He's at Puckin' Thoughts on the old Twitter machine. What's up, Adam Bernard? Dude, what's going on? I missed you so much last week, baby. I missed you so much.
I missed you. I missed you, but I was away with the family for the week down on the beach by Santa Barbara, so I didn't miss you too much. I was enjoying my time down there. Went to the zoo. It's a good little family trip.
Nice little take the family out. You look like you got a ton of sun, right? Nice and tan, rested and ready.
Yeah, well, yeah, rested just to come back to here and, be unrested again. That didn't last long, but hey, here we are.
There's nothing like hanging out at the beach and hanging out at the zoo just so that you can, I'm just going to sit in front of my computer for the next 72 hours straight. Love that.
Yeah.
Do you want a hug? I'll give you a hug. Oh, you should be. Come on, big guy.
There we go. That felt good. Thank you.
I see. There you go. That's what I'm all about. It's all about feeling good, right? That's what we're doing here. We're sitting here. We talk sports. We talk fantasy sports. It's fun, damn it, or at least it's supposed to be fun. When did it all get so crazy serious for everybody? Listen, you gonna throw $100 into a league and then just get all crazed and insane about it? No, you're certainly not. So have a good time with it here. That's what we're all about for at least the next 60 minutes. I've got an amazing show planned for you today. My special guest. I love this man. I love this man. You love this man too. He's the host of Jaguars Today on 1010XL Radio. He's also the game day co-host on Jaguars Radio Network. You also know him from the football diehards in the fantasy world on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. That's right. Mike Dempsey coming fresh off of some Jaguars camp today to join us here. We'll talk Jaguars, and I've got a surprise or two in the works there from Mike Dempsey. So buckle up, get ready before we bring him in, before we start having a grand old time at the Jaguars' expense. You know it, baby. Let's start talking some headlines here. All right, first headline. What do we want to talk about, people? What do we want to talk about? How about the MLB Trade Deadline? It's supposed to be super exciting, the MLB Trade Deadline. And there was a hotbed of activity. There really was. There were a number of players who went around, changed some teams. Some contenders got better. A lot of other people didn't. I got to be honest with you, man. For one of the most exciting baseball seasons in years, and this has been a very exciting baseball season. We've seen more parity than ever. We saw more people who were supposed to be buyers at the trade deadline. The new rules, listen, love them, hate them. They've been good for baseball right now. I know it, and you know it. The games have been shorter. The intensity's been on fire. Everything's been absolutely great. So then why in the world did this trade deadline get so flippin' boring? I mean, what an absolute snooze fest. There was no Ohtani sweepstakes. That's what we wanted. We know that he's the $500 million man, and we're waiting to see what happens. But no, the Angels turn around and they don't trade Ohtani. They don't get the boatload of prospects that they're looking to do. And now Ohtani's just stuck here on an Angels team that, I mean, they made some moves. A little bit of a snooze in some ways, but yes, obviously what you need to do is you need to build around a lineup, and adding components to a lineup, totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. But there was no pizzazz. There was no sizzle. Not at all. CJ Crone. Okay. Oh, who else? They brought Randall Grichuk. All right. I mean, these guys are okay. They don't move the needle. You add Lucas Giolito. Please, did anybody see Lucas Giolito get absolutely destroyed again? The dude don't pitch in the daytime. He does. I don't even know why the Angels would have even thought about that aspect. The dude's a night owl. We know he's not a party guy. He's just a night owl, and so he doesn't pitch well during the day. But so the Angels now, rather than get a boatload of prospects, they trade like 3 of their top prospects in their farm system to get ho-hum Crone, ho-hum Grichuk, ho-hum Giolito. And listen, they're not even the trades that they made didn't even move the needle on the odds for them to make the playoffs. So Artie Moreno, dude, what are you doing over here? Absolutely atrocious. What else was atrocious? How about the effort for the Yankees and the Red Sox? Neither one of those teams were doing anything. They looked dead. And I know Brian Cashman came out and was like, well, we didn't really have anything that was going to move the needle. We've got components here. Aaron Judge just got back. We've got Carlos Rodon, who just got back. We've got Garrett Colston. And still yet this team sucks and is not going to make the playoffs. And neither are the Red Sox. So really, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at an American League East where 2 of our biggest markets, 2 of our biggest teams didn't do anything. They look dead. They looked like Cleveland, who just gave up. Cleveland's like half a game out of first place behind the Minnesota Twins, and they don't do anything. Granted, they took some injuries to their pitching staff. No Shane Bieber, no Tristan McKenzie. I get that, but you're still in the fight. But no, what'd you do? You sold off the rest of your team. You're like, okay, sure. The Astros, they end up getting Justin Verlander back. That's, big deal for them. No doubt about it. Texas Rangers bulked up with pitching, but I mean, come on. Who else wants to root for another team from Texas? I mean, aside from people from Texas, right? The Astros, don't care. The Rangers, exciting. They have been, but come on, man. We all know that the Braves are still the class of the NL. And they're going to end up probably winning the World Series because they've got what it is going on here. And what they don't have is any competition. What happened to the Reds? Where are the Reds? You've got this great farm system. You've got all of this youth. You got all of this talent. You brought them up. You were a 100-loss team last year. You're in first place and fighting for first place with a Milwaukee team that doesn't do squadouche during a deadline. Nothing. Carlos Santana, that's their big move. They still suck against lefties. Did you see Mackenzie Gore have his way with them the other day? So I don't know what the Reds were thinking. You've got Nick Lodolo's coming back. Hunter Green is coming back. Yeah, you need to be able to walk in with a 1-2 punch. Now you're probably like lamenting over the fact that you got rid of Luis Castillo all that time ago. It's unbelievable. Reds didn't do anything. I mean, listen, the most exciting part of this trade deadline was watching the Mets fire sale. And you know what? Even that was a little sad and pathetic to watch. I mean, it's sad and pathetic just because, you can just see all those mopey faces sitting here in Flushing, Queens. And, my owner who was just throwing money around left and right. And Mets fans were like, we're winning the World Series. We're going all the way. And now you've traded Verlander. You've traded away Max Scherzer. The team is just in shambles right now. Francisco Lindor still can't hit his way out of a paper bag. So, man, I got to tell you, man, this trade deadline for me as a fan of baseball, forget even about the fantasy aspect of this. As a fan of baseball, we went from super exciting at the All-Star break that all these teams were going to be in it, that everybody was going to be fighting for a pennant race. And you know what? You got nothing right now. You got the Astros and you've got the Rangers in the American League. Sure, you got the Rays and you got the Orioles, but did either of those teams do enough at the deadline to really give themselves an edge? I don't think so. And the Twins ain't going to cut it either. So you're looking at a Texas team, whether it's Houston or the Rangers from Arlington, coming out of the American League and out of the National League again. I don't think anybody did anything really that's gonna scare the Braves. It's gonna chase the Braves. Dodgers didn't. Padres are still out of it. Diamondbacks, Marlins. None of this has happened. So sorry, baseball, but unless you want we see some like really, really sick playoff races here, you're going to fade once again as this juggernaut that is football plows through you and leaves you behind. Sad? Yeah, without a doubt. Incredibly sad. Speaking of the NFL, I mean, let's talk about it, right? The Hall of Fame games tonight. Cleveland Browns, New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb. I don't even know. Breece Hall, maybe. Garrett Wilson, Amari Cooper. There's all these superstars here. Like, this is how much football rules the roost, because here it is, a game on August 3rd where if you glimpse the sidelines, maybe you see one of those players who I just mentioned. Maybe. But yet still, everybody's freaking out about the Hall of Fame game here tonight. Well, actually, you know what? NFL fans aren't really freaking out. They're all getting pumped. They're all getting excited, rightfully so. Just the normal rabid fan base is waiting for the season to start. You know who's freaking out? I'll tell you, fantasy owners, fantasy football players. God forbid you did your dynasty rookie draft already, or you drafted only in the Scott Fish Bowl. Or your keeper league, you already had your draft. You're just sitting around right now, just flipping out about every single little bit of news. Some guy farts and he sharts himself. Well, oh my God, that's incredible news. What's this guy going to do? Is his ADP going to rise? Is his ADP going to fall? No. You guys need to rein it in. Fantasy owners need to rein it in. You want to talk about the walking wounded? We can talk about the walking wounded. But again, are these things that are happening right now really moving the needle that much? Cooper Kupp with a hamstring problem? Yes. Cooper Kupp with a hamstring problem is upsetting. But guess what? The dude had an MRI. It came back clean. He's going to be out for a few weeks. Y'all didn't want Cooper Kupp playing during the preseason anyway. Nobody wants their superstars playing in the preseason. So if Cooper Kupp's just kind of chilling out, wrapping an ace bandage around his hamstring and just kind of taking it easy on himself, I think you're fine. Remember, this dude's like 30 years old right now. He's not a 25-year-old kid. He's not a quick healer. So give him some time off, but no. Am I downgrading Cooper Kupp because of a hamstring injury here on August the 3rd? Nah, brah. No way. Calvin Ridley with a toe injury. Just get some new cleats, bro. Come on. We know that there's nothing wrong with your toe, and I don't want to hear any of this nonsense. And you fantasy owners out there, you want to talk about the fact that Calvin Ridley hasn't played in 2 years? Okay, fine. That's great. Fine. We can talk about that. Mike Dempsey's going to talk about it in just a couple of minutes. But I'm not going to sit here and freak out because he's got a little toe problem right now. You tell me it's turf toe, then we'll talk. But if you're telling me that it's just like a little issue with his cleats and his little, baby toes are all being cramped up, I'm not worried. Right? I mean, it's not like he was Tim Patrick who ruptured his Achilles, or did he tear his Achilles? Either way, it's an Achilles. Tim Patrick, done for the year. But how much does that really move the needle in fantasy? How much has that got you guys freaking out about? It shouldn't. It shouldn't have you freaking out about anything, because Tim Patrick wasn't even being drafted well. Like maybe at the late bottom of the heap, he was being drafted. Listen, it's Cortland Sutton, it's Jerry Jeudy, and now your third wide receiver is Marvin Mims. Boom. End of story. It's as easy as that. I'll tell you what the Tim Patrick injury does. It doesn't even move the needle on Marvin Mims that much for me, because I definitely see the Broncos, utilizing some 11 personnel or 12 personnel. I'm sorry, 12 personnel. Get those two tight ends in there because they've got Dulcich and they've got Aquabenum and they brought in Adam Troutman. So they've got a bunch of tight ends that they want to use. So it's Jeudy and it's Sutton. Sutton, the X receiver in a Sean Payton, Joe Lombardi offense. That's where you want it to go. Tim Patrick wasn't going to be doing it for you guys. All right. He was going to sit there on the Z, during three receiver sets, and Jeudy was going to move to the slot. That's what you were looking at. And so that's not really happening that much anymore. And it wasn't even going to be a problem. If anything, this secures Cortland Sutton's spot on the Denver Broncos right now. Rumors of him being traded at all to the New England Patriots, not happening now. He's locked in as the X receiver. So please stop freaking out about Tim Patrick. Alexander Mattison, listen, I don't even know. I don't even know what to do with Alexander Mattison right now. He does not fit into this blocking scheme. He's not a good runner in the scheme that Kevin O'Connell wants to run here in Minnesota. We saw it last year. Even with Dalvin Cook there, and Dalvin Cook kind of lessened a little bit. Alexander Madison in the limited time that he played, it's just not a good blocking scheme for him or that offensive line. They're trying power gap stuff, and it's just not going to work. Go check out my article in the Fantasy Alarm Draft Guide. Go read about coaching systems. Do yourselves a favor. That's what you need to do. Understand the system, the scheme in which these players play, and everything will be okay. Because then you'll see who's the square peg being jammed into a round hole. Who's the player that's not going to fit? Who's the player that this system best caters to? I've got it all right there for you in the Fantasy Alarm Draft Guide, so go check it out. You know what? We got a flash sale going on today in honor of this big booming Hall of Fame game. So go check out Fantasy Alarm Twitter at Fantasy Alarm, and you can find that. It's back is the promo code. Go to fantasyalarm.com/draft. Use that promo code It's Back. Takes 50% off that draft guide right there. Right there. Now, you want to talk some big news here. We do have some really big news, and that, my friends, is the Alvin Kamara suspension. Now, listen, he pled down to a misdemeanor, okay, and then he just met the other day with Roger Goodell before any suspension was announced to kind of plead his case. I don't know what case he's pleading. Listen, it's likely 4 to 6 games, all right? Though some people think that because it's been pled down to a misdemeanor that he shouldn't even be suspended. Folks, please, did you see what I saw? Did you watch the video? I mean, unless the dude made some insane threats, did he really warrant being jumped in an elevator by Kamara and his buddies? I mean, how does he not warrant a suspension for just those actions? I mean, listen, just take a look at what they did to this guy here. Where's my picture? Where's my shot? Oh, yeah. No. Not only is that Rocky, but that's old Rocky. That's not him. Adam, show me the picture of the guy who Kamara and his buddies beat up. That's a deer you hit on the side of the road on your way with the family to Santa Barbara, dude. That's not it. Give me the guy who Alvin Kamara and his buddies took care of. Come on. Let me see it. I'm done with you. I'm done with that's it. Yeah, no. Fine. Maybe we've got some copyright infringement that we can't show the video or just the look on this guy's face. But you know what? I think those 3 pictures probably say it all right now. That's what the dude kind of looks like. So Alvin Kamara does need the suspension. But you know what? Buy that dip, baby. If he's going in the 8th or 9th round, take that suspension. You will be okay. All right, those are headlines for today. I got to get my guy in here. Where is my man? Ladies and gentlemen, please bring him in here. My good buddy. That's right. It is none other than Mike Dempsey from Football Diehards on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. And obviously he is also from, where is he? Oh, yeah. Jaguars Today on 1010 XL. He's also the game day co-host on the Jaguars Radio Network. Is my guy here? Where's my guy? Is he here? I don't see him. I don't see him at all. I see me with the name Mike Dempsey here. I don't see my boy Mike. Adam?
He needs to turn his camera on.
Oh, Adam.
Is it not on?
Oh, I hear him.
How about now?
Oh, I hear him again. Dang.
Hi, Howard.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
I keep hitting this enable camera button and it's not doing a darn thing, buddy.
Man, why don't you try leaving the room and coming back in? Maybe that'll do it.
All right. I'll see you later.
You know what? Listen, this is what happens when you're broadcasted live and things kind of just don't go the right way. This is what it felt like for like every talk show that tried to use this format during COVID. Like, do you remember seeing like all of those talk shows all over the place where it was just absolutely just insane that they just couldn't seem to get it right? And you were like, man, this is like a big time TV studio. What's going on here? Oh, we'll have to just kind of wait and see, because I got so much to ask Mike Dempsey. I mean, come on. Can we talk about the Jaguars? This is just this team right now. They are on the climb. I'm super excited about having them. I've invested. I've put some stacks together for some best ball, right? Adam, where's my guy?
Yes.
Oh, there's Adam. Adam, where's my Michael? What happened to him?
Oh, it's tough for me to figure it out and do this at the same time. I think we got him in the back now. I think we got him.
Oh shit!
There
There
we
he
go.
is.
I ruined
Adam,
the whole
get on
flow.
out of here. Give me more Mike Dempsey.
I've ruined everything.
You
I've
have ruined
everything.
it all.
This is why I'm on radio, Howard. I don't know what the hell you newfangled kids are doing out here with all this video stuff, man. But I got to ask you, is that a legit Action Comics #1, or is that a replica you got behind?
That's a replica. When was the last time you thought Action Comics were like this big?
I don't know, man. I can't. That's true. Those are. I don't know how big your bobbleheads are, though. Maybe they're a little small.
Whoa,
That's a good point.
whoa! I don't know how big your bobbleheads
Hey, buddy.
are, Michael.
If you want to compare bobbleheads, we're gonna have to turn the video off again, I think.
Dude, how are you, man? It's just
I'm
so
good.
great to get a chance to talk to you. Like we never really get a chance to like hang out and like have like this kind of one-on-one time with each other. We're always either on SiriusXM doing a draft, or we're like busy in a broadcast. So what's new, dude? How are you?
I'm always thinking of you, though, Howard. So that's the important thing. I am always thinking of you. I'm great. Doing. It's busy time now. Training camp's open, so I'm actually working a little bit this time of year, and it's good. 4 days a week on SiriusXM and 5 days a week on my local show in Jacksonville, and still squeezing in a few rounds of golf before the summer runs out.
You're growing out the old goatee a little bit more.
It's been like that for a little while now. I'm emulating you. I'm not quite as suave, and you're more. I don't know if I'd call you salt and pepper. You're pretty strongly salt these days.
It's all right, dude. It's all great, man. It's absolutely. And you know what? I wear the hat all the time now because it's like super thin and on top as well.
Yeah,
what happens when we get.
I get microphone or headphone head a lot, headphone hair. So I just throw the hat on too. I was out of training camp today, so I had to protect myself from the elements out at the sunny Jaguar camp this morning.
Let's talk Jaguars camp. How was it? How was camp this morning?
I go for like the first half. Like I'm on the air at 10 a.m. And fortunately, they start their practice at 8:45. So I stay for about the first half. And, today was pretty light practice, honestly. They had 2 days in full pads. Today they're just in shorts, but they're day off tomorrow. Back at it Saturday, Sunday, Monday, full pads each of those 3 days. So, getting ramped up a little bit. But yesterday was after what had been mostly a completely positive first week of practice. Yesterday was a case of all the receivers having drop issues, including Calvin Ridley had 4 separate drops at practice yesterday. He said it wasn't any kind of a rust issue, just one of those things. He said his jersey was too wet from all the sweat. I don't know, man. Catch a ball with your damn hands, Calvin. But, I hope, Howard, it's just a plot to allow me to get him in like the 5th round again, like you could do in early best ball drafts, 5th, 6th round, because his ADP has shot up and he's looked the part. Let's put it that way.
Well, here, Britt Flynn's already chiming in. She wants to know what's going on. Have you got any news on Ridley's toe? Was it just a cleat issue?
Totally a cleat. No issue. He did full practice today. No restrictions. He's fine. There's no no injury. Let's put it that way. The issue was the pain. I guess, you'd figure by whatever year it is for him in the league, you'd have the right cleats by now, but apparently he did not yesterday. And if that's the only issue they have with him, I mean, that's the biggest fear. I heard you talk about don't freak out about training camp injuries, and I get it. Don't freak out about Tim Patrick, because even if you drafted him in a best ball league, it was like in the 16th round. But I mean, Cooper Kupp is a guy who gets nicked up quite a bit, and to have him miss some time here and be a soft tissue injury, I'm not saying freak out, but it's very easy now, I think, if you're in the middle of round 1 to pivot over to Tyreek Hill if you're drafting Kupp ahead of him, for instance. So I think, a reasonable amount of caution is called for.
Well, as you well know, there's no such thing as a reasonable amount of caution in the fantasy world.
Probably not.
Like all these,
that's what's called for.
All these people who have like already done their rookie drafts and they have nothing to do but sit and watch camp for the month of August. And they're all, I mean, it's bonkers, absolutely bonkers. I had people asking me about, the Jonathan Taylor saga, the running back saga, all of that stuff. And everybody's just, I'm like, let's see how it plays out first, right? Let's see how it plays out. I mean, level of panic. I mean, with the running back situation, I mean, we can probably try and bring this back to the Jaguars in some capacity or another, probably because Evan Engram was chiming in about this very same thing about tight ends last season when he wasn't getting his deal that he wanted to get. And he was seeing, like, you know, some teams wide receiver 7 making more money than he was even remotely being offered on the franchise tag. Is this an epidemic? Is ownership going to, because they don't have to, but is ownership going to try and rectify this to make everybody feel a little bit better?
I don't think so. I think, honestly, Jim Irsay just is not very tactful, but I think he probably represents the opinion of a lot of owners out there. Look, we've got a collective bargaining agreement. Okay, you running backs want to get paid more. Great. Who are we taking it from? Are we going to pay the receivers less now? Are we going to pay the quarterbacks less? I mean, it's the nature of how they value these positions. And I get it. These guys carry the ball a ton. But Howard, we all know, you know, putting aside specialists, the position that you can most readily step in as a late round draft pick and actually not only contribute, maybe even star in the NFL is the running back position. There's just too many bodies, and even the great ones are replaceable. And so, I mean, look, and the thing of it is too, the rank and file players don't care about the franchise tag when collective bargaining comes up, because only 6 to 10 guys every year are impacted. And most guys are thinking, you know what, it's not even going to impact me at all. And the average fan's not going to care that much either. I mean, we could sit there and academically say, okay, yeah, running backs are getting a raw deal, but when the franchise tender is over $10 million a year, most people can't relate to that. So shut up and play football, quite frankly, I think is how most of the public feels about it. And I would imagine the owners are in that camp as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've said it before. Ownership is, when it comes to the CBA and negotiations, ownership is playing chess. The NFLPA is playing checkers, because the rank and file cares about what's happening to them right here, right now. And they're looking at the economic situation for the next 3 to 5 years. They're not looking at ownership is looking at it 15 to 20 years down the road. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah. We'll give you your $1 billion in your retirement fund. We'll give you your $50 million in medical costs. No problem. Because they know that in 10 to 12 years, they're going to be getting over on all the players like they are doing right now. So,
well, look at the value of franchises, how they go up, right? Shad Khan bought the Jaguars for 3-point-something billion. They've like more than like 2.5 times the value. Now that's just the nature of the NFL. These guys are getting filthy rich, but hey, you know what? You got to have money to make money sometimes, right? So look, the players have collectively bargained for their percentage of it. They're going to get what they're going to get. And I don't look, the NFL's just rolling along, making too much money. Yeah, you're going to see some disgruntled guys and maybe even some guys who get franchise tag hold out, but I don't see the logic. Okay, Josh Jacobs, they're not giving you what you want, so you're going to cost yourself over $500,000 every single week. It makes no sense to me. They're going to show up generally and collect their money and play, whether they're happy or not.
Could not agree with that statement more. All right, well, Mike, let's bring it back to the Jaguars here, because this is actually, I mean, let's face it, you know, when Urban Meyer got tossed and Doug Peterson came in, whole brand new change, like change of culture, change of environment, an actual proven NFL winning scheme that they've done here. So, you know, there's no doubt in my mind that the Jacksonville franchise has gone absolutely incredibly, you know, increased in value here. Does this team continue to take the next step forward for you?
Well, I mean, look, you never know with health, right? But presuming they have no worse luck on that front than any other team out there, this offense is going to be really good. They were the 10th best offense in the league last year. You basically replace Marvin Jones Jr. with Calvin Ridley. Plus, you've got all these guys in the second year of the offense. Trevor Lawrence, you know, goes from college. He's got to learn a new offense his rookie season. Totally inept coaching. Then he's got to learn a new offense last year. About halfway through the season, it all clicked in. Final 9 games, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Yes, he had 4 interceptions in the first half of that playoff game. And granted, had the Jags not made the comeback all the way back, I think the narrative around them would be different right now. But when you look at Ridley and Kirk and Zay Jones has looked phenomenal. I'm telling you, Howard, if Ridley wasn't out there and Zay Jones and Christian Kirk and all the rest were practicing the way they had, you think Zay Jones was some team's number one receiver. That's the kind of week he's had to open things up. You add Evan Engram, you add Travis Etienne, you add Tank Bigsby and Dearness Johnson, that backfield. I think they're really deep at running back. Jamal Agnew has been playing great as a fourth wide receiver option. So I think all the pieces are there for an offensive explosion this year. Big question is going to be defensively, do they have enough pass rush? But look, they're a team that won the division last year. It's not a very strong division. The schedule sets up well for them, 10 games against the 2 South divisions this year. So there's a chance they can have a really high seed and maybe even multiple home games. And whether they're one of the best teams or not, you got a chance to have, the Cincinnatis and the Buffaloes in the AFC maybe coming to your place. That can make a big difference in January.
Now, we just saw that graphic pulled up here on the screen, and we can pull that back because I want to see, I need your thoughts here on this backfield because, obviously everybody's all in on ETN. But then, we got Tank Bigsby and we drafted him and he's been talked up as being a huge part of it. But then Doug Peterson comes out and he's like, I want Travis Etienne to push 1,600 yards on the ground. Mike, tell me how this backfield's going to shake out.
Yeah, well, this is my opinion. And look, I ask this question a lot, right? I'm not down there every day and I'm talking to all the reporters and getting their opinions on it as well. And in fact, I was asking about that specifically today. I was talking with John Shipley from Sports Illustrated, covers the team, does a great job doing it. And we took it as more like Calvin Ridley, when he came out in the Players Tribune piece that he did earlier this offseason, said, I'm a 1,400-yard receiver. But then after that piece came out like a day or two later, he clarified, he said, look, that's where I feel I am talent-wise. This team may not need me to be a 1,400-yard receiver. What I'm saying is if they need me to, I can still be that guy. And we took it that Peterson is saying that kind of about Etienne. Here's the thing, Howard. Travis Etienne scored 5 touchdowns last year. Only one of them came from outside the 7-yard line. Now, he's got breakaway speed, and if he learns to hit the hole a little bit quicker, maybe he'll have a few more of those and it'll balance out. But Tank Bigsby, the name describes his style of play. He's a load to bring down. I think he can be a real red zone weapon for this team. I've asked other reporters down there, and they think Bigsby could get 1, 2, 3 series, not to spell Etienne as he gets tired on that series, but of his own. Like if he's getting 2 or 3 series in a game and getting the goal line work, I'm not saying he is fantasy startable every single week, but I do think there are going to be some disappointing weeks with Travis Etienne when all the other things are going right in the passing game and Bigsby vultures those goal line touches. Etienne's got great ability at over 1,500 yards, really in what was amounting to his rookie season last year. But I just don't know if the number of opportunities he's going to get this year can really rise that much.
Dude, you're giving me like Fred Taylor, Stacey Mack vibes right now, and that's not good for fantasy. We know that's not good for fantasy.
It's not, but that's a great comparison. Yeah, and Fred loves when I bring up Stacey Mack. Like Fred would have more touchdowns. He does. Yeah, I mean, I honestly I got a hug from Fred Taylor once when I brought that up. He does the post-game show on Jaguar Radio with us. Of course, then I tell Fred, if you had all those 1-yard goal line carries, you wouldn't have averaged 4.6 yards a carry in the NFL. But that's a whole other story. So look, Etienne's explosive, Howard. He had 5.1 yards a pop last year. I'm not saying don't draft him. I'm just saying if you're drafting him thinking he has a chance to break into the top 10 backs, I think you're going to be a little bit disappointed. And Tank Bigsby's been one of my favorite, kind of double-digit round targets as a 4th or 5th running back in best ball this year. And I've been scooping him up in a ton of dynasties as well because it goes back to what we're just talking about with the running back position. Would it be that surprising if the Jags let Etienne play out this year and next year on his rookie deal, not even pick up the 5th-year option because they got a guy in-house already who's making a lot less? And, it certainly could go that way. I don't know that it will, but I don't think you can write that off.
Very, very, very wise, sage words here, folks, from Mike Dempsey. No doubt about it. Let's talk passing for a second here because obviously we know Calvin Ridley's locked in as the number 1. Christian Kirk, who did a great job, working out of the slot, did a great job last year kind of connecting with Trevor Lawrence. I guess the real question is in 2 – and there's even Evan Engram. So I guess the question is in 2 receiver sets, is it Zay or is it Kirk opposite Ridley? Because we already know in 3 wide receiver sets, Kirk will move into the slot and
right.
Zay is going to be on the outside. So 2 receiver sets, where are you thinking?
I have no look again. Zay Jones has looked fantastic, but I would think the predominant amount of 2 receiver sets you're going to see Kirk in the slot. That's where he's going to play almost exclusively this year, barring injuries. Ridley out there, and of course Evan Engram, and then that's more going to be like a 12 personnel package. You're not going to see, even though they drafted a fullback in round 7, I don't think you're going to see 2 running backs on the field very much. They've had a number of interesting tight ends. Garrett Prince is a guy probably nobody knows about, but he seems like he scores a touchdown every day in team drills. But a guy like that, I mean, that's great for him locking down a roster spot, but I don't think you need to look beyond Evan Engram at the tight end position. But you had that graphic up there. He had 73 catches. Kirk was in the 80s. Zay Jones was in the 80s last year. But here's the thing. The pie doesn't have to remain the same, right? Trevor Lawrence threw for 4,125 touchdowns last year. I'm not going to be shocked. In fact, I kind of expect that to go up at least into the mid 4,000. So let's say he's a 4,600-yard passer and he throws for 30, 31 touchdowns. And I may be, a little bit light on that, quite frankly. I think this is going to be a big season for him. So it's not like you're going to take Marvin Jones' numbers and just transfer them to Ridley. Obviously, Ridley's going to have more, but I think he can have a big impact and not necessarily destroy all the value we saw from these other guys. Zay Jones not going to be an every week fantasy player. There's no question. I think Christian Kirk can be a wide receiver 3 or a flex, and that's pretty much where he's being drafted. But I think Ridley, I think conservatively, I would say he's a wide receiver 2 with the upside to maybe crash the top 12 or so this year if everything breaks the right way.
Definitely makes sense. Now, are we going to run it back with Evan Engram? Last year, 11th, 10th round, 12th round tight end. We talked about the fact that he was obviously going to see significant targets in the scheme. Now he's being drafted like a top 5 tight end. It's unreal. Not in the sense that it's unreal. I'm surprised. It's more in the sense of it's unreal. Is he going to be able to repeat this when you add another weapon like a Calvin Ridley? Because for me, his ADP is scaring the bejesus out of me. Like, I'm not drafting Evan Engram at his ADP because I feel like I need to pull back a little bit. Or am I wrong?
No, I find more in my experience, he's been going to like tight end 8, 9, honestly, rather than top 5. I'm sure there are examples where he does go that high. I have him as a number 1 tight end on a number of best ball teams, but it all depends on the value you're getting. And that was a big thing. Like you said, last year, you kind of got him almost as an afterthought. The book on him, he won't stay healthy. He won't hang on to the football. And he did a pretty good job in both departments last year. He is still clearly the Jaguars' top pass catching option at the position. And he's out there getting a lot of reps with Trevor Lawrence. Look, I just think there's going to be a case of there are going to be weeks where you're going to be disappointed with Evan Engram. But I think, if you look at him as, say, tight end 8 to 10 in that range, I think the final numbers have a really good chance of ending up there because he'll probably have a few weeks where he, outside of the Kelce's and the Mark Andrews of the world, he's the best tight end in fantasy. But due to the fact that they added Ridley, you've got ETN and Bigsby in the backfield. There are a lot of mouths to feed in this offense. So I don't think you can necessarily count on 73 catches being topped this year. I think he's got the ability to do it, but I think you're going to have some of those swings week to week, Howard, where you're like, why did I spend a single digit round pick on this guy?
It's always my biggest fear. Listen, tight ends. I know tight ends. We do the SiriusXM league together where you start 2 tight ends, right? It's Travis Kelce or bust. Is that still the case here?
Well, yeah, to a large degree. I mean, Travis Kelce went number 1 overall in that draft and very justifiably. So I remember a few years ago, I took Kelce at like 8 or something like that. And he was the first off the board. And everyone's like, ooh, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You got to play 2 of them. And I'm generally pretty good in that league, but what happens is you end up having to roster the Tyler Conklins of the world out of desperation because you can't, any tight end with a pulse get snatched up. But in a league like that, Evan Engram is still pretty gold.
Yes, he definitely is. Yes. Talk about, there you go, in that 2 tight end league. Talk about somebody playing chess while everybody's playing checkers. I think you just crushed us all with your tight end selections super early on. Don't remember who else it was besides Kelce, but it was abusive. I'm not going to lie.
I know I took Pitts last year way too early. I'll say that. So,
I think everybody took Kyle Pitts way too early last year in any league. Mike, what about the defense? Are you all in on them for
No.
team defense? Is there some IDP work that we want to check out?
There is. Look, there's some value, I think. If you're talking about how good of an NFL defense they'll be, I think to be determined, right? And I think the offense, putting them in better positions, the offense got out of the gate slow in a lot of games last year. If this team is leading a lot of games in the third quarter, well, then you don't have to worry so much about playing the run on the way to the quarterback. You just pin your ears back, as they like to say. And, I think team defense-wise, you love the fact that you get 6 games in the division with Houston, Indy, and Tennessee. You get the entire NFC South as well. So there's some reason to feel that that's going to be advantageous for you. IDP-wise, like Josh Allen, metrics-wise, is good. He gets a lot of pressure. Usually don't get points for pressures, right? This is not a high-volume sack team. They had 35 last year. I'm hoping that they come to their senses and bring in a guy like Justin Houston, who's still available out there, a lot of pass rushers, and that would help. And I think being not just like the offense, second year in Press Taylor and Doug Peterson's system, second year in Mike Caldwell's defense will free things up. Plus, you've got a few guys. I think Devin Lloyd has a chance to have a breakout campaign. He's a first-round pick last year. He was Defensive Rookie of the Month in his first month in the league. And then he really kind of hit the rookie wall. His head was swimming. He seems like, the mental part of the game has really improved. Obviously, Foye Oluokun has led the league in tackles the last 2 years. He has IDP gold in the linebacking core. But outside of those two, I mean, if you can get Trayvon Walker really late because he's almost an afterthought, getting 3.5 sacks as a rookie, sure, I'll take a few shots on him. But defense is definitely second-class citizens when it comes to a comparison to this offense right now.
I love this breakdown of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mike Dempsey, is there anybody better to go to for a breakdown of the Jacksonville Jaguars? I don't think so. Now, Mike, I don't want to keep you too long here, but I'm just kind of wondering, do you got time for a little game?
Oh boy. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, how can I say no to you? How can I say no to you?
I like that hesitation there. It's always
I'm just
warranted.
trying to think what this might entail, but yes, go ahead.
I'll tell you exactly what it's going to entail. Mike, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, different leveled questions, 5 levels in total, points awarded for correct answers, points given based on what level, the level of difficulty here for some of these questions. Now, with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, this is all, well, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars are a team where before everything, started getting all exciting for them, they were shipped off to London on the regular. Home games across the pond. Can't be any more well, it's more aggravating for me on the West Coast than it is for you on the East Coast, but I can't imagine that it's that great. However, you have definitely spent significant amount of time paying attention to your Jaguars in England. So, Mike, can I test your knowledge of the old country?
Why not?
All right. Well,
I've already said yes, so go ahead. What's the worst that can happen
here? It comes, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's game with Mike Dempsey as a contestant.
Take you to foggy London town.
We're big shot tourists from everyone's favorite country, the USA. We saved your ass in Vietnam and shared our prostitutes with Hugh Grant.
You sound like you're from London. Yeah, I'm from London.
The Jaguars' second home is across the pond, so it's time to test Mike Dempsey's knowledge of the Big Smoke and beyond on Livin La Vida London.
All right, contestant Mike, are you ready?
Yes. By the way, Ricky Martin's the third most handsome guy in that shot right here. Me, you, and Ricky Martin in that. Maybe not in that order either. All right, I'm ready. Let's go.
It's you, it's me, and then it's Ricky.
We're tied for first, you and I. All right.
Level 1. Here you go, Mike Dempsey. French fries are called chips in England. What are potato chips called in England?
Crisps.
There you go. That's one level.
And, I honestly thought you would start off with a fish and chips question once you told me of this topic. So I am very happy that I had you nailed.
Level 2.
Easy now.
I don't even have a response to that.
I thought you lost your mic for a second there. All right, I got level 1. What's level 2?
You got to watch the eyes, man. It's all in the eyes. I'm moving them around. I'm doing the Marty Feldman.
Yeah, you just lost everybody under the age of 40, but
that's okay because, Level 2, here you go. London is the largest city in England by far with over 8.2 million people. Which city ranks second? Manchester, Birmingham, or Liverpool?
I'm going to go with Birmingham.
Look at that. Look at that. For another 2 points, he gets it right with Birmingham. I will give you a 2 bonus points right now if you could tell me what famous heavy metal band comes from Birmingham.
If only Bob Harris were here. I've got nothing for you on that front, Howard.
All right. Well, the answer would have been Black Sabbath, and Bob Harris definitely would have gotten that.
He definitely would have.
Well,
no
now I'm going to have to tell
me.
on you.
All right.
You're stuck at 3 points here. Level 3 question. When NFL Europe existed, what was the name of the London-based franchise?
The Monarchs.
All right. Look at that. Moving on up here. Level 4. What's your score right now? Oh, 6. 6
Doing
points.
very
Good
well
for you. Level 4 question. Legendary Who drummer Keith Moon died of an overdose after a party at Paul McCartney's house in 1978. The party was in celebration of what musician who also died years prior, also ahead of his time?
I'm going to have to go. Boy, this could be a number of guys here. I'm going to go Jim Morrison.
Very sorry, Michael.
Jimmy? Was it Jimmy?
It was not Jimmy. It was not. It was Buddy Holly.
Okay.
Buddy Holly.
Sorry, I didn't know who they threw the party for that Keith Moon died at.
Hey, dude, listen.
I do love the Who.
I mean, did you want me to just feed you questions about Quadrophenia and 515?
I did want you to feed me questions about 515. Yes, I did actually, but that's all right.
Too easy.
All right.
I got to challenge you.
I blew that one. I like multiple choice better.
Of course you do. You're still stuck at 6 points right now.
Okay.
Your level 5 question. This is a big one, Michael. This is a big one. The Jaguars came into the NFL in 1995. In all-time regular season meetings, what NFL franchise has Jacksonville lost to the least amount of times?
The least amount of times. That's interesting because
let's get that ticker going here. Let's put them.
I'm assuming this has got to be an NFC team because they don't play the NFC teams all the time. The least amount of losses. Boy, I remember some really bad beatdowns that Seattle handed them. All right, this is a kind of a wild guess. I'll go with the LA Rams. Yeah. That was a toughie.
Oh, I'm very sorry. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay,
Tampa
there
Bay.
You go. We own this state, buddy.
Do you though? Well, now you do. Now
we'll cut it right off at St. Johns County, and the rest of them are going to float out to sea. So yes, we do.
Do that Bugs Bunny just saw the whole state off?
You've seen it. You've seen it. Yes.
South America, take it away.
I felt so good after 3 questions, Howard, and now I feel like
I know. Well, 6 points here for 5 questions, plus the chance at a bonus there also that you whiffed on.
Yeah.
Adam Bernard, my illustrious producer, tell Mike Dempsey what he's won.
Well, you could have won a golf outing with 3 Jaguars of your choice, including the automobile or the animal. Since you finished with 6 to 10 points, you get free meals for life at the restaurant where Urban Meyer was caught doing the bump and grind. So congratulations, you got free meals for life in Dublin, Ohio. If you had scored less, you could have gotten free medical advice from Fred Taylor's orthopedist. So
wow. All right. Well, as long as I'm going to check when I go in there, Howard, I need that sign in the bathroom. All employees must wash hands before leaving. That is really important when you're eating there, apparently. So, yeah. Lucky me. Next time in Cincinnati, I'm headed right over. By the way, you want to hear, did you see the anecdote about Urban Meyer in the Go Long TD piece that Tyler Dunn did on the Jaguars that came out, I think, yesterday. He talked to Andrew Wingard, safety, and Wingard 2 years ago was quoted like, hey, yeah, we're struggling. We got a rookie quarterback. We got a rookie coach. Urban Meyer was so offended by that, by being called a rookie coach, that he gets the defensive backs coach's phone so he knows Wingard's going to answer it. He calls Wingard on his day off, and he says, yeah, this is head coach Urban Meyer. And he goes, what are you doing? Call me a rookie coach. You know, if you or anyone else, I would have cut you already. Or you would have been like, what? You're a rookie coach because it's your first year coaching in the league. And he's so thin-skinned that it bothered him that he threatened to cut one of his players over that label. I mean, so that's a Urban Meyer in a nutshell for you.
I was going to say, on a scale of 1 to 10, like, how excited was the team to not have Urban Meyer as their coach anymore?
The scale is, you're way off the scale. You know, you put whatever number you can go up to, that's probably how excited they were. I mean, just an utter catastrophe.
The addition by subtraction, no doubt. Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining me, man. Do me a favor. Tell everybody, give them the spiel. Where can they find you? Where can they hear you? What you got coming up next?
On the artist formerly known as Twitter, you can find me at MD_1010XL. That's just 1010XL. If you're in Jacksonville or you just want to go to 1010XL.com and stream me, I'm on 10 to noon weekdays talking Jaguar football. Also do pre and post game show, halftime show, all that good stuff on game day on SiriusXM, on Fantasy Sports Radio with Bob Harris, Football Diehards, Monday, Thursday, and Friday nights, including tonight, of course, at 10 p.m. Eastern, Saturdays from 5 to 7 o'clock, and occasionally podcasting out there as well. And when I get invited to great shows like this, hanging out with my buddy Howard Bender.
I'm so happy you were here. So happy to see you. It's nothing but a pleasure for me. And I definitely need you. I need more Mike Dempsey in my life. So I'm going to be like that bad penny who just keeps coming back, Mike.
You know I love you, brother. I love you. And next time I'll know how to get my camera to work. Maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah,
see.
Or not.
Radio guy. We just do this on the air anyway. We'll do it on the radio then if we have to. That's what we need. We need another one of those host mashups.
That would be good. I enjoyed that.
Me too.
And I. And once they put us together, they might not want to separate us, though. That's the problem.
Why would anybody want to separate us? I think Bob Harris would get a little jealous.
You know what? As long as we could do it in your time slot, I'd be all for it. All right.
Oh, I like where your head's at. Mike Dempsey, everybody. Come on. Mike, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Howard. We'll see you.
Have a great day. Mike Dempsey, everybody. I love that man so much. I really, really do. Like, if you want to talk about just forget about the salt of the earth and everything like that, like, that was one dude who I vibed with immediately. Meeting him, SiriusXM, and just doing stuff with him. He is without a doubt one of the absolute best, if not the best, at what he does. I'm always in awe of getting an opportunity to work with him. So big thank you. If you don't follow Mike Dempsey on Twitter, you better do it. It's at MD_1010XL. Make sure you give him a follow. Check out everything that he does and that he brings to the table. You won't be disappointed. All right, before we get on out of here, because it's about that time right now. Coming up after this show, you might still see me again with Britt Flynn on a little Alarm Fantasy Football. So you're going to want to stay tuned right here. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. We really appreciate everything that you guys put together. Don't forget, today for the Hall of Fame game, we have a flash sale going on. Go to fantasyalarm.com/draft. Use that promo code It's Back and get half off on the Fantasy Alarm NFL Draft Guide, which comes with, that's right, my cheat sheet. Now, as we like to sign off here on Getting Buzz, it's a little something called the Final Five. And what do we got for the Final Five today? How about 5 players your mother wouldn't draft? Yeah, that's right. 5 players your mother wouldn't draft. Number 1, it's Alvin Kamara, because your mom watches this show, right? And now she knows that he's being suspended. So she's not in on that. She doesn't like the fighting. So bye-bye. Number 4 on that list, how about Tyreek Hill? Smaller packaging, same thug flavor. You don't want in on that one, or at least your mom doesn't want in on that one. Number 3 on that list, how about Nick Chubb? Because she knows how she gets when she's had a couple of glasses of wine within her, and she can't say it without even thinking and giggling about it. So, and I'll throw an honorable mention here to Chuba Hubbard, too, because she still says Chubba. And then finally, the number 2 on the list here. Number 2, Travis Kelce. She ain't drafting him. Why? Because Taylor Swift only likes his brother Jason. And the number 1 player your mother wouldn't draft, Deshaun Watson. Why? Well, because he's Uncle Frank's favorite player. And, well, we all know why no one's allowed to be alone in a room with Uncle Frank. Am I right? I am. That's going to do it for us here on Getting Buzzed. Again, big thank you to Mike Dempsey for joining. The hugest thanks to my man. Get in here again, Adam Bernard. Get in here again. You handsome son of a bitch.
Thank you.
Crush this every single time. I love having you here. This partnership that we've got going. By the way, I like the Jaguars teal that you got going on there today. That's
I
nice.
try to do something for the guests, just to let them know. I'm friendly over here, even though I'm a little ruthless with the game show.
I love the game show. We all love the game show. And I love the way that the shirt color makes your eyes pop. You're a champ. You're the best. This show wouldn't be possible without him. Thank you to Fantasy Alarm. Thank you to the Better Sports Network. Thank you to all of you for tuning in and watching here today. I'll be back next week with, you'll have to check my Twitter handle for who next week's guest is going to be. In the meantime, I'm Howard Bender. This has been Getting Buzzed. We'll catch you next time.